At 18, expecting Leny Yoro to come in and instantly be a starter as a Varane replacement in a centre-back pairing alongside Lisandro Martinez, to me at least seems like a recipe for disaster. Whilst he certainly has the raw attributes to be a world-class centre-back, anyone who seriously thinks that Yoro is going to come in as a starter and instantly improve what United had with Varane needs to go back and watch Yoro last season, because it's evident that he needs one, maybe even two more seasons before he's at that level, and even then, looking at players like Ramos and Rudiger, they didn't really hit that elite level until they got to their mid to late 20s. But if Yoro is going to start, I think it makes sense to use him as a central centre-back in a back three, and filling in other positions. I'd also bring in Simakan and Frimpong to his right, alongside Ugarte, which would give United the perfect 3 or 5 at the back setup with a lot of positional versatility available. Now, I don't think that Ten Hag will move to a back three system just because we haven't seen him really try that system at all at United, but considering the players we have in the squad, I think if you add a right-sided centre-back who can play comfortably as a right-back and defend astutely in 1v1 duels in the channel, alongside a right wing-back, right winger hybrid like Jeremy Frimpong, then this does give you the players to use this system incredibly effectively in multiple different phases of play. When pressing the opposition high up the pitch during the build-up phase, having Simakan next to Yoro would allow United to push their wing-backs high up the pitch, creating a narrow central 5 with Ugarte, Mainu and Bruno behind Xerxes and either Rashford or Højlund, with the wing-backs covering the flanks. De Ligt could perform this role, but I just think players like Diomande and Simakan are not only better channel defenders, but also would offer more in possession in terms of line-breaking passes, or runs or carries forward, but I'll come on to that later on in the video. I think Matthijs de Ligt is better as a central centre-back, but Yoro without doubt has to play centrally, as if you watched him last season for Lille, you can see that the weaknesses in his game come in 1v1 duels when he's left isolated, whereas he excels around the box in central positions when the back line is a lot narrower. But before I come on to the tactical explanation, if you want to pick up any of the new season jerseys, or any retro club or international jerseys, go over to Jersey FIFA. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a discount. A link will be in my Instagram bio, which I will leave linked in the description. Pressing high up the pitch when the opposition shift the ball to one of the centre-backs, you want the wing-back on that side, Frimpong in this case, to squeeze high up the pitch, looking to stop the left-back turning if a pass does go up the line, whilst Bruno and Mainu push on to the opposition's deeper central midfielders, and Ugarte goes man for man with the opposition's more advanced midfielder. But if you are pressing this aggressively at the back, you have to go man for man, which is why I think a back three with Simakan and Martinez either side of Yoro makes sense. De Ligt could perform this wider role, but I just think Simakan would be better suited to it, because like Frimpong, he's a hybrid player, a mixture of a right back and a centre back, and so defending in the channel, especially with passes in behind, does come a lot more naturally to him. And with Yoro as the central centre-back, he isn't going to get drawn out into wide positions as much, which should sufficiently protect his weaknesses, whilst his main strength, which is his pace and his reading of the game, when he is up against a striker with his back to goal, this will allow him to effectively defend that central zone, whilst also acting as a sweeper when passes are played in behind. When the opposition have possession in the middle third, this is when United will look to drop back into a back 5, which I think offers a lot more support not just for Yoro but for all of the defenders in the back line, because just naturally with most teams in the Premier League using a front 5 in either a 3-2-5 or a 2-3-5 possession shape in this phase of play, you have a 5v5 at the back rather than a 4v5, needing the assistance of the central midfielders to drop deep in order to track the runs between the centre backs and full backs. And with the extra player in the defensive line, this gives you more width, and so therefore you can allow your midfield and forward line to be positioned a lot narrower, with the wide midfielders in a 4 at the back system having to be aware of the movement down the flanks from deeper positions. And so with Bruno and Mainu sitting narrow with Ugarte slightly deeper in a midfield 3, and Rashford and Xerxes sitting slightly ahead to maintain the vertical compactness of the overall defensive shape, this is going to allow Ten Hag to create a similar sort of defensive shape to Inzaghi's Inter Milan, which is set up to vacate those deeper, wider areas in order to congest the centre of the pitch and stop the opposition being able to work the ball through the centre between the lines. And this is the primary reason as to why I personally think a back 5 in the middle third is the best defensive shape, because you can then congest the midfield without leaving yourself vulnerable to a switch of play because you've vacated massive amounts of space on the flanks as you would have to do in a 4 at the back shape. And from here, this is where Yoro's pace and reading of the game will aid United, as with a 5 at the back, when one of the opposition players in the half space looks to drift into a wider and deeper position in order to receive the ball on the outside of the midfield 3, Martinez can push out with him, tight on his back to stop him turning when he receives a ball, leaving Yoro to track any run from the centre forward or deeper midfielders into the space that Martinez has vacated. However, the area where I would be concerned defensively, particularly with Martinez and Yoro in the back three, is from aerial situations inside of the box. We all know that Martinez doesn't have the height of a traditional centre-back, but it's not just from the eye test that you can see this. As looking at the percentage of aerial duels that he won in the 22-23 Premier League season, you can see that it's a clear weakness. Leny Yoro has the potential to be dominant from aerial situations, but I think he has to work on his awareness of where attackers are moving around him, as well as the actual timing of his jump, and so that's why I'd be reluctant to use Dalot as a right-sided centre-back, with Yoro as the central centre-back, as I think United would need someone more aerially dominant in that back three alongside Martinez and Yoro. Simakan's aerial numbers aren't incredible, but they are reliable, and from the eye test you can see he's certainly more than good enough from aerial situations, and so Dalot would have to come into the system either as a right-sided centre-back with a new centre-back like Simakan or De Ligt central, with Martinez and Dalot either side, or as a right wing-back in place of Frimpong. Although in possession, Frimpong would play a crucial role offering pace in behind the back line, which Dalot wouldn't be able to do to the same level, and we can see this now when we come on to how United would set up with Yoro in a back three when in possession. So in the build-up phase in the defensive third, using a hybrid right wing-back like Jeremy Frimpong would allow Ten Hag to use his usual build-up shape, a 3-3-2-3, with Frimpong the right wing-back pushing up higher than Shaw the left wing-back on the other side, and essentially looking like a right winger in a front three, as Rashford from the front two can now pull out wide to the left, which showcases the seamless positional versatility of this 3-5-2 with players like Rashford and Frimpong in it. From here, Ten Hag needs to utilise Xerxes' deeper movement and create set patterns of play. If the pass goes into Yoro, you want Simakan dropping off into a deeper position on the flank in order to offer a passing option out wide, but to open up a passing lane into Xerxes, who I would have dropping off from the forward line, looking to drag a centre-back out and create space for Frimpong and Rashford to run into. You need one of your central midfielders, Bruno Fernandes in this case from the right, to make what I call a facilitating run, putting the opposition central midfielder in a positional dilemma. If he holds a central position and looks to cut off the passing lane directly into Xerxes, Bruno Fernandes can pull out wide to create an overload on the right and open up a pass from Simakan in behind the opposition's left winger down the flank, as Frimpong sits high and wide pinning the opposition's left back backwards, but if the opposition's central midfielder sticks to his man-to-man press and follows Bruno Fernandes' movement, it will work to drag the central midfielder out of that central zone, which then opens up the passing lane from Yoro directly into Xerxes. Now obviously Ten Hag can't systemise a whole attack, but this type of possession pattern of play in the build-up phase should open up the opportunity for Xerxes to receive the ball with his back to goal, wherefrom he's in his element and can link play with Mainu, Fernandes or Simakan making forward runs, with Rashford and Frimpong ahead looking to take advantage of the space that Xerxes has vacated by looking to use their pace to break in behind the back line. When it comes to playing the initial pass into Xerxes from a deeper position, Lisandro Martinez on the left side is obviously significantly better than Yoro at doing this, even though Yoro is a fairly decent medium to long passer from these deeper positions, but it is an area of his game that he does need to work on. Where Yoro does excel a bit more, however, is his ball carrying, which could be particularly effective in the middle third, when United look to switch the play from one side to the centre, where from in Rio Ferdinand-esque fashion, Yoro can look to powerfully drive forward into the space, bypassing the opposition's front and midfield lines, and progressing the ball either into their half or even into the final third. Now we'll do some more tactical videos looking at how United could fit in certain players that they have already signed or maybe will sign, so subscribe to the channel and click the bell and let me know your comments in the comment section below.